If you've ever wondered how to grow your influence online, how to use social media to promote your business, get your products and services in front of the right people, build your following online, what to look for in terms of how do you read the data to understand what you're doing right and what you're not doing right, how to get into media if you want to get into media, today is a good day. Because you're here and you're going to find out all this because I have a very special guest today and I'm really excited to introduce her because she's had over 15 years experience in media and she's built a following of over 1 million people. She's done this, she can do it with her eyes closed. She's got some exciting plans coming up and we've got some interesting conversation with her and I am proud to present KALEKYE MUMO. She's awesome. She's just a breath of fresh air and I really admire her and I admire the work that she's doing. And part of what she's been doing is actually, like right now, she's doing life coaching, which is super important, especially in the times that we are living in, and also media training. So if you're looking for media training, if you're looking for life coaching, somebody who will really listen to you and help cheer you up and help you understand some of the things that you need to address in your life, like she's the one. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I mean, I'm excited to come and sit and chat with you, you know, because I admire what you do too. So I'm interested to find out the kind of questions you have for me today.
Juicy stuff. But first, I would like to just get into the background because I'm interested. I know a bit of your background, so if you could just share with us, how did you end up in media?
How did I end up there? Well, first of all, I always wanted to be inside the radio. Think of it from a child's perspective. When you first discover there's this thing called radio back then, it was Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, KBC, the only station that speaks your language. But it was called VOK, Voice of Kenya. That's kind of leaking how old I am. But anyway, I was intrigued by the voices, the playing of music. My dad loves music, so that was something that he would always tune in and listen to different shows. So I wanted to be like those people. So the journey to getting there was not easy because one, trying to explain to my parents that I wanted to be on radio was like, I don't even know how to explain. They were like, that's a joker's career. People who do that do it as a hobby. It's not a way of life. So choosing to go to do a degree in communications was not on the table. It was go to USIU where your brothers are, do something there because we are the ones paying, then you can figure out your life from there. But that you're not doing. You need to have a job with a name on the door and a big desk, as it were back then. So I did what I was told to do. Then I started my quest. And so by the time I was graduating, that's when FM stations were opening in Kenya. And I was so excited because all we had done is that we had listened to tapes from my cousins in the States would send us tapes of radio station music that they had just recorded onto a tape and then they mailed it to us. And for me, I had heard so many different ways of presenting. I was like, what is this? I want to do what they do. And so I was ready. FM station has finally come to Kenya. The journey started with me now trying to apply and fail miserably. At the point of graduation, fail miserably. Because the first station that started was Metro FM, but they started with the name Capital, only that they had not bought the rights to the name, so they had to quickly change it because the actual Capital was coming. So when they began, they wanted people who could present in both English and Swahili. So the Swahili was a fail. It was a bad fail anyway. So after that, now it was how do I get to Capital? You know, they're hiring, but then they seem to have a plan of who they're hiring. How do I get in? And back then, we were using fax machines to send over your CV. You had to find a studio where somebody can record you, and the studios were so few. You know, it was the Kasangas and I don't know where else. And getting there, getting to pay them to record on a tape was impossible. So it took a good 5 years of sending CVs and giving up within those 5 years for me to decide otherwise. I even went to work with Homeboys and managed the Homeboys because they got the first DJ show on an FM station. So I figured to myself, if I can work for these guys, maybe one day they'll send me to go and deliver the show. And then while I'm there, these guys will hear my voice. Because, you know, I've been singing all my life. I've been acting all my life since I was a very young kid. Then maybe I'll get a voice test, because this faxing of CV, I don't know where it's going, who's getting it or who's not. But that didn't work out. Believe it or not, I ended up doing sound engineering on the job, where I was trained School of Hard Knocks. And I decided, if I can't be in front of the mic, let me start from behind. So I trained as a sound engineer, and I was recording shows, and I got trained how to use my voice better, because then I was recording commercials for TV and radio. So that training really helped a lot, and knowing how to work on the production element of whatever you're doing. I didn't know that it was going to work. I didn't know that I was ever going to move. I had settled down to the fact that I can be a sound engineer. It's hard work, but I'm doing it and I'm fine. So fast forward from graduating in the year 2000, it's 2005. Capsule FM are doing a Radio Idol competition. And my best friend says, man, send your CV. This time they're only asking for a CV. You don't even have to record at them. I'm like, right now I can record, because I'm working in a studio. Yeah. She's like, no, just send. And I'm like, for the last 5 years I've sent these guys my stuff. They've never called me. What's going to change now? Has my voice changed? It has not changed. So it was a tussle between us until the last day she called me and said, listen, the deadline is today, midnight. It's now 5 o'clock. Just send the damn thing before you leave the office. And I thought to myself, you know, she's bugged me enough. So I'm going to send my CV as is. As you know, when you're presenting your resume or CV, you will obviously edit it to suit the job you're applying for.
Yeah.
See, I didn't care anymore. So how did I apply? Using my sound engineering CV, which has all the sound jobs I've ever touched. It was 10 pages long. It was 10 pages long because I had done this sound job for 3 years. And it builds, and it builds. And of course, you want to look like you've done stuff, so you'll put a lot of stuff. If you've even edited anything small for any show, you'll put it there. I sent an email to then Marcus and Leo, who were doing the Radio Idol on the show called The Jam. And I said, your search ends now. I am who you're looking for. The problem was, I didn't care. When I was writing it, I was just like, they won't call me anyway, so it doesn't matter what I write. And then they wrote back and they said, wow, we've got to meet this young person who in their 20s has a CV with 10 pages long. You are one of our contestants.
Amazing.
That's how it started.
So first, what I'm hearing from you as well is you should also be careful about your friends, because your friends can help encourage you where they see you've got talent, and you just need that nudge, because your friend was that for you.
That is it.
And then when you're not too attached to the end outcome of something, you end up, that's the thing that you end up getting, because you're not attached to it, so you really present your real self.
And you're raw.
Yes.
You're raw, because if I had tried to apply with the passion that I had before, I'd probably have been overthinking it, would have overdone something and would have missed it. At this point, me being very raw about it and being very, hey, look, it is what it is kind of like how that stood out to them, like, she actually isn't trying too hard. Because sometimes we try too hard and miss the point, miss the mark. So that's actually how I started. It's something I always wanted.
Yeah.
And it took 5 years since I graduated to get there. What I didn't know was that the things that I learned in those 5 years came to help me so much while on the shows that I was doing, because now I had the advantage of I know how to edit. I've been working with this software all along. Any new the radio programming software was easy to learn because I knew programs.
Yeah.
And I could produce my own radio show. I didn't have a producer. I could do it myself. Everything, we could do it myself. It was easy for me. And that gave me an edge, because when you produce your show yourself, you actually deliver a more authentic part of yourself for radio. So that's how that worked out.
Wow. Okay, that's incredible. And what were some of those moments that you had, like, or what was one of those moments that was so pivotal for you in media?
Wow. Which one? I think when the two of them, I'll say two, because when I joined Capital, I won a training, and it was not guaranteed that I would have a show. But I was just equally as excited to finally try and see whether what I have been thinking since I was like 8 years actually makes sense. So getting there and then doing the training on the graveyard show, which is like midnight to 5 a.m., because you can make all the blunders you want there, no one's really listening. And then the first show I got was the breakfast show. I was on my way, I finished my training, and I'm like, okay, so now the contract for where I was working before, doing the sound job, was an NGO. There was no more funding. I finished this training. My cousin's getting married in TZ. Okay, let's go to TZ a bit early for this wedding. And I got the call when I'm on the bus, going to Tanzania on the bus. I think, where are you? The Capital is calling. I'm like, I'm on a bus. I mean, see, we finished our training. There's something I didn't do. No, you need to come back. When are you coming back? Because we need you on the breakfast show. Nobody moves from intern to breakfast. Nobody does that. So that was like, wow. For me, that was wow. But at the same time, having gone back, done the show for 3 months, I feel being put in that position where I was a co-host first, then within a month or two, I was an anchor. I felt it was overwhelming, and I was overthinking it now because I panicked, because breakfast is the biggest show of every radio station. So when I left, because now I felt like, okay, I'm here, yes, I'm working, but my pay hasn't moved up, and yet you're calling me an anchor. Am I being used as an intern? I felt off. So I said, I'm going to leave. And I wrote to KISS. I was like, these guys are even bigger. So let me write to them and tell them I've been here. I know you've heard my voice, and I want a job. And after I wrote the email, like on a Friday, I did my last show on a Sunday. I used to do a show called Golden Sunday, which I loved because it was 60s, 70s, 80s music, which I grew up listening to because of my dad. I left. 3 days later, KISS calls me, and they say, yeah, we've heard you, we like your voice, but right now we don't have a radio show. We want you to do news. Now, you've come from doing breakfast. What would you have done? Probably said, psh, in your face, you must be mad. But then I had to think about it, and this is where I love my siblings, and they told me, listen, it's a foot in the door in the biggest radio station in the country right now. Go there, do the damn news, learn it, fight for a show. Beg, fight, every day. Ask, so can I get even a weekend show? I need a show. So can I get I used to do that every day until I was given a weekend show. That weekend show, we did so well that when a gap came for us for a prime time, we were the choice. So it's the resilience about it is, you may not get what you want in the way you want it right now, but if you can do that, and it's new and it's different and it's difficult. News was totally off my game. Fine, I studied international relations, but I did not want to. Again, I chose the degree by fire by force, duress. You either take something or you're not being paid for school fees. So I didn't do it because of choice. So learning sports, because when you're a news anchor, you also do sports, manage a newsroom, be an editor. The leadership skills were working. The training and production was helping, but I didn't know that whether I take this or not, whether I'll get to that position. But it helped me fight more, because it's right here. I'm here doing the news in the studio. It's right over there. Fight. So that's really how I got in. So that was pivotal to me. And then when I left, I thought to myself, what's the progression from radio? Should be to TV. And that I didn't go looking for it was awesome. I left July 2016, the 4th of July 2016, I left KISS. And by November, we were hashing out a new show to air in January on K24. So
why leave radio? Because that's where you wanted to be inside.
That's where I wanted to be inside, but do it for 10 years. One, glass ceiling. Two, the environment just wasn't working for me. And the question was, at the time, that was the biggest radio station. So where to, if there's no other station that is you can't step down, you need to step up.
Yeah.
So there was nowhere else. And I think I had 10 years of greatness, but I was starting to get exhausted. And the environment was just not friendly, unfortunately. And so I said, let me first leave. Again, I just turned 40. And I was like, there's some things, when you're in your 40s, there's some things you don't need in your life. You're like, enough.
Yeah.
And so that was really one of the main reasons that we're not seeing eye to eye here. I feel like I'm not growing, or it's not happening. So maybe I should just walk away while I'm at the top of my game. And also knowing that leaving at the top of your game matters.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah, that's true.
Very important. Because to date, there's still people who will always write to me and say, we miss you on radio, come back. And I'm like, it's been 5 years.
Which is why you're doing the Instagram.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah.
We were talking earlier, I mean, like, about moving that show from Instagram to YouTube, because I think YouTube's a beautiful platform in my view. And the fact that you're able to earn both from your audience, you're able to either sell your products, but also the fact that the platform will pay you for bringing in quality content. Yeah. I think is fantastic. So yeah,
I think okay, so the show I'm doing on Instagram live is KM Radio, and KM Radio was born out of the fact that I just left K24 in 2019. I'd started doing a YouTube show, and then I just invested in equipment towards the end of 2019. Then COVID hit. So I thought to myself, I have all this gear, it's in the house. Why don't I just put something together? I was actually tinkering, to be honest. One fine evening, I started tinkering with stuff, and then I put up the mics, and I was like, hiya. Okay, this setup kind of looks nice. Testing, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, hiya. And I called my IT guy and I tell him, yo, make a poster. We're doing this tomorrow. He's like, for real? I'm like, yes, we're doing it. And it was so, I hadn't even thought, what am I going to do? I mean, I hadn't been on radio since 2016. Here we are, it's 2020. Are they really even going to remember? Are they going to listen? But it was fantastic. We're making a year this April 1st. And so I have actually thought about it in terms of, okay, Instagram Live is great. What I love about it is the fact that people can call in and you can have a conversation. Because for me, everything I have done media-wise, I don't want to sit and just talk to myself. I want to talk to people because I want to influence them, and I want to help them to be better people. I want us to build a better society for ourselves in this country and beyond. That, for me, is my calling. And so the fact that I can't speak to people on other platforms made it difficult. But I know that there are now other programs that you can actually use so that people can call in. Because when you hear that other voice, I actually learn so much from my audiences. Sometimes they think they're learning from me, but I think I learn more from them in those conversations. So if I can have that conversation, what I'm saying, guys, is we could move to YouTube. Will you follow me? April 1st is year number 2. Let's try something new. I think we should.
Yeah, I think it's a great platform, and the content lives longer. Right. I think that's one of the things I really like, because the beauty about YouTube is the fact that it's a search engine, which means that at any time people are searching for KM Radio, right, they'll always find it anytime, and then it keeps building up over time. Whereas the other platforms, you have to generate content really quickly because it disappears really fast. So I mean,
I think we could consider that angle, because at the end of the day, I'd be losing nothing, because at the moment Instagram doesn't pay. So this is actually a labor of love. The way I handle KM Radio, for me, it's because I love radio. It will still be my number one love. I love doing TV, the way I've grown into it. However, my labor of love will always be radio. Yeah, always.
And what would you advise somebody? So right now, there's somebody who's watching us, who's looking at starting a career in media. Right. So they're where you are when you used to listen to the radio, and they want to be in it, or they want to be in TV. What would you advise them?
I think the key things for you are, what is your strength in terms of language? People take this for granted, but if you are not doing a show in a language that you are excellent in, it won't work. You have to be a master of your language. You have to be a great researcher, and you have to be a storyteller. And if you have acted, it helps 10 times more. So usually I say, look at the journey you've had in your life. Were you in all the drama festivals? Were you leading in plays? Were you standing up to recite different things? Were you able to research and prepare debates? Those are the things that I was doing in high school, and I find that they really did help me a lot.
Yeah.
I was a debater, I was an actress, I was singing, I was reciting poems, because there's a confidence level that comes with it. You're going to be put in a place where you're doing a show by yourself, and you have to talk as if you're talking to somebody who's in the room with you, and laugh and have good, your mind has to be on a different level in terms of you've thought 10 steps ahead of yourself, and you can see the joke even. You even know what's coming.
Yeah.
Yes, you will train yourself and you will be able to grow in it, but there are basic fundamentals that I find if you have done before will help.
Yeah.
And it's not just about your friends finding you funny, because that's another misconception. Because have you been able to make strangers laugh and strangers engaged in a conversation? Because they have no obligation to like you or make you think you're funny. So it has to go beyond your immediate circle. You should be able to make different crowds entertained and happy.
Yeah.
And leave them with something to think about each time you have a conversation with them. Are you able to hold a room with your voice? If I walk into a room and there's noise and I say something with a higher level voice, they will turn. I can hold a room. I can hold your attention. Those things matter. Like, those are just the basics.
Yeah.
Have those basics. The rest of the things, technical, you will learn. And the strangest thing that I discovered on radio for myself was mathematics matters. Where I didn't like it, it actually matters. Because you will find yourself trying to calculate time, because everything goes by the hour. The same way you want to hear your news as a listener, you want to hear your news, you know it will come at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
I cannot go talking way into 9:15 and you are like, there's no news today. You will have switched stations. Yeah?
So it has to be timed.
Everything has to be timed. The core business of being on any media platform is to make money. Advertising is your goal. It's not about you guys having a blast. It's not about people loving you. The core business, if you're going to be on radio or TV, we're assuming it's not your station, neither is it your mother's station, please. You have to work. And the call to duty is entertain them long enough that they may listen to the things that pay you, which is the advertising. Entertain them even in a promotion where you, as the anchor or the radio host, have to sell the product. You sell it with passion. You have to research it and understand it. If I walk in and I say, I like those glasses, but have you tried the glasses at XYZ Optics? I'll tell you why. Because they have some other anti-glare this. I know you would think I'm the optician.
Yeah.
So it will take work. I think a lot of people assume that when you're on radio, you're just having a blast, but everything is planned. The acting comes with, you actually have a script that you've prepared through research. It takes, the ideal is that you should take 2 hours to prep for 1 hour. So if you have a 4-hour show, you're going to prep for almost 8 hours. You have to put in the time. And you're prepping every day. Every day you're walking around, you are observant of different things and conversations that you can bring up and say, that's an interesting conversation. So if I share it with my audiences, tweak it a little bit, how will they pick it up? So you're constantly actually working. Even when you're not on air, you're working. So if you don't have that interest of conversation, stories, and seeing that there's an angle to it, or that there's an end game, there's something to learn from this, or there's something to make guys laugh, you miss it. Yeah. So
I hear you.
But you grow into it. I'll tell you, you grow if you have those basics.
And is that what you teach? Media training
is what I teach. So on a perspective so there's radio work training, and then there's media training for corporates who have teams that will be called upon to represent the company on TV, will be called for radio shows. How do they handle press conferences? So how do you answer the questions? Which angle are they coming from? How do you think before the journalist asks the question? What do you say to avoid some questions? Say it before they ask you. So that's what I teach, or for media training for corporates. And it's preparing you to have a team that will be effective, a team of managers that will be effective in front of a camera. They're no longer camera shy. They know where to look. They know how to dress. So we'll have sessions on bring your suits. Let's walk through them. We'll have a session on how you're going to present yourself at a press conference, which is different from doing a talk. Some people are even afraid to do their own, presentations. So those are the things that I'd be teaching.
Okay. Yeah. And what about somebody who wants to get into media? So I'm thinking, I've just listened to you, and I want to get into radio. Can you train me?
Yes. So that is also available to be trained on the basics, because you need to understand, for example, what is something we call a link. So a link is something that connects one aspect of the show to the next, and which is filled in by radio hosts, anchors. Yeah. So again, the core business is to sell advertising while entertaining, but the core business is to sell. Yeah. So there will be a segment that has, maybe 3 minutes or 5 minutes of advertising. Then after that, maybe you're supposed to have a song. Then you need to break all these conversation and all this with something in between that's entertaining, that keeps them there. So I'd be able to teach you what's the structure of a link. How short should it be, or how long should it be? What's hooking to make sure that your audience stays with you longer? I remember, if you remember, some of the shows that we would be saying a story or doing something that then we leave you hanging, we play an advertisement, then you're like, I can't even come out of the kind I've gotten home. I used to hear guys saying, I'm home, I'm in the parking, people think I'm mad, I've been laughing my head off, now I can't leave because you haven't finished, can you finish? So those skills of knowing how do you hook guys to stay? Yeah. Because there's so much competition on other stations. Yeah. How do I make you stay on my station for my show all through?
So let's segue into social media and how to build your following and how to build your presence and get engagement on social media. What social media do you use right now, and what's your following like?
So social media for me, I think I'd like to start from the beginning.
Okay.
I was already on air when social media started, and that kind of meant that we had to learn, because again, I was working at a station that was trendy, was young and urban. And so we had to be the people who teach people everything that's hip and now. So I had no choice but to get onto these platforms. So initially we started with Facebook, and it was about, friends, right? Having come from younger platforms like High Five, which was like a chat thing, and that was way back when, this was quite a step up. Like, you can post pictures, you can put up stuff, like, wow, what are those? So initially it was very friend oriented, right? And I didn't see why I should involve my fans in my personal life. Now, what you need to understand is who I had decided to be when I got onto media. Having wanted it from when I graduated, there's also a reason I think God decided, just chill. When you're older and mature to handle it is when I'll give you this thing, because that's who He is. I was now 29 when I got onto KISS. I had understood what it means to have a private life and a work life, because guess what? It's a job. Yes, you're fun, you're hype, you're in everybody's life every single day. They feel like they know you, but you also have a private life. So I had treated my social media as very private. So as they came, the one that I was using publicly was Twitter, because of how quick and short it is, and that you could use hashtags. And so for the show, that speed really worked well, right? Because as we went along, people could respond quickly. If they can't call in, we have some feedback. And that made sense to me.
Yeah.
And then when Instagram came along, and I remember even being asked to join it. We were at some launch of something for a client, and it was a party, and guys like, yeah, take a picture, put it on Instagram. Like, huh? And they're like, you haven't joined, you know. And so that mentality with the crowd, your workmates, so you join. But I had kept all these pages private because I thought to myself, why am I sharing my pictures with strangers? Now remember, by then, the thing we call blogs now was only a newspaper, The Pulse. And The Pulse had started when I was at Capital, and man, they had really taken down a couple of people with really scandalous things. You know, they take pictures and put a talk bubble that has nothing to do with what you were doing. And my family, I respect them too much. We had fought so hard about me getting onto this radio that I'm not going to spoil it now that I'm there with a scandalous something. So I used to keep out of pictures. You know, even if I go to, for a long time, I wasn't going for events. And when I went to an event, I learned to be friends with all the photographers so that by the time he comes to take a photo, he's catching me in a nice position. There's nothing weird about it.
Yeah.
So now social media is here. The decision now is, okay, we are growing, but I am still private. How can this thing work for me? Or should it even be something that I open up to myself as a brand? Because now, as a radio personality, you're being viewed as a brand. And that's where I think all of it started to change, because I started seeing clients wanting to know more about us on a social capability. And I thought to myself, but once I finish the show, see, we are done. But it's not, because I am the brand. So the same way you have your Coca-Cola, you want to know, you can find it in A, B, C, D. Or when we started having mobile phones and you wanted to know where's the network for Safaricom, for instance, where's the one for Airtel, how far does it reach, which one is better? But so all those things start to become your day-to-day life, you know. And so as a brand, who now you're putting yourself on the level of these other brands, you need to be visible. So I remember for Facebook, for example, when I discovered that I had an impersonator. Why? Because Facebook finally gave us the ability to have a page and a profile. So the profile is where we had all been because we're dealing with our friends, right? All my old schoolmates, my cousins, blah. But then now there's the ability to put a page, and the page is actually meant to be for a person who's creating content that is meant to inspire, teach, educate, or market to other people. But I had an impersonator. They had gone and begun this thing before I had made any moves towards it. So I was like, I have to win this back. So that was the first battle where I realized it matters. Because if somebody else is faking to be you, one, they were fleecing off advertisers, pretending to be me. And first I learned later it was a guy. And he would write on inbox and say, yes, I can market for you. I'll send my PA, he goes himself. But the problem was then, the English was off. It was not my English. Yeah. It was not well executed the way I'm executing on air. So they started to be a problem. And now that can affect you as a brand, yet you have no idea. So I realized that I have to own my content. I have to take all handles. Any new app lands like this, I sign up, whether or not I'm ready to use it, because I need to own my name and the handle. Yeah. So when I started with Facebook realization, I realized that, okay, maybe I should use these things to reach out to people better. So for Instagram, I'd been private for a while, then I made it public. And I made it public with the notion that as the content creator, the person behind the handle, you have the right to decide what information and content you will share. You're the one who decides how much of your private life will be out there, not the other way around. So I do not need to be pressured by anybody to start doing shots of my home, my car, my people, my family. I don't have to, because it can affect other people. My family do not want to be anywhere on my social media. They're not of that age of wanting to be. So I had to make those decisions based on, can I use this thing for business? And I found that I could. Because then as a brand, I'm trying to sell confidence, which is something I'm very particular about. I'm trying to sell the fact that you can use your voice for good. I'm trying to sell that if you don't know your purpose, it's easy to find it and stick with it. I was not looking for likes or follows. It was, what can I share that's inspiring? If it inspired one person, I was good. So that's how I started, when I realized it was necessary.
So was the fact that you started by giving value, like you were not starting looking at getting likes, looking at the vanity matrix, as I like to call them, you were looking at giving value to your audience. Did that help?
It did, because let me tell you, people are very smart. Our audiences are smart. That's the one thing you cannot assume, that you're smarter than them. They're very smart. They will tell when it's authentic. They will tell when you're over trying. They will tell when you're doing something for attention. Because guess what? They're human too. They would know if they were also doing something that was off, right? Yeah, they know. So your reason for being on social media needs to be very clear to you. Why are you doing this? I often ask people who send me odd DMs like, oh, please post about my song so that I can get more likes. I say, so it's about the likes, not about this song's message. You're not even selling the message to me. See, the minute you don't sell me the message of your song, then I'm not even interested in it. It's whether it was a good song or not, it's over. Because if you were particular about, I wrote a song and it's to inspire the youth who are abusing alcohol, and it's because this and this happened in my life, blah, 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 I'll be more interested in you. Wouldn't you be interested in that person?
Yeah.
As opposed to post my song so that I can get more likes and be famous. If you mention my song, they listen.
That sounds like a parasite kind of arrangement, as opposed to...
Two, you don't believe in your own work. Because if you believed in your own work, you would not have to come to me to tell me that. The songs that I have liked in my career have been songs that I have actually found just out there existing without being shoved in my face. Where it was just, hey, this song is, hey, it's got something about it, you know? And music is just an example. Yeah. But when you're creating that content, what is your intention and what is your purpose? The same way as a marketer, you will tell me, do you believe in your brand? Do you believe you're solving something? What are you solving? And why did that solution come best to you? When we look at people who've made great brands, great products, or great services, they were answering something that most probably bothered them so much. Like there's this lady who, Fun Kids, Shiro, who decided that she's going to start making kids furniture. It was because she was frustrated when she got kids and couldn't buy the furniture. Look how she's grown now. But it is it's so passionate to her. It was not about selling the pieces. It was the fact that she made them for herself. Her friends started liking them. Then she thought, okay, I'll make for you. Okay, I'll make for you. No, I'll sell to you now, you guys. You're coming too much. And it just became something that ended up in a business. Anything that started with the right intention of passion will grow. So the same way you're creating your content, or the same way you're putting something out, has to come from passion, not because you want to be known as, hey, can you see me? I'm sorry, it won't work. It won't, because we can read through these things. So creating whatever you're posting and whatever you want to put out there, ask yourself the why, ask yourself for who, and then keep doing it. Because if it is good, somebody will find it. Somebody will find it, because it was created with an intention that you saw fit to fill a gap. For me, confidence, I saw a lot of women, plus-size women, who were lacking in confidence. And I knew the more I post myself about, how I can dress in this way, how I can, pose in whatever, I saw them getting stronger. And that made me happy, because I'm like, why should you feel less of a human being?
I like that.
Yeah. So it matters. It does. It really does.
And to add to that, I would say, because it's a lot of hard work. So if you're not passionate about it, at some point it will become a bother. Because if you're faking it, you can only fake it for yourself as well for so long.
Right.
So at some point when you have to edit at 3 a.m. in the morning because your content should be going out tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Exactly. So tell us about the work. First, what's your following and what have you done to build it?
So right now, I can tell you, celebrating because we've made it to 800K on Instagram. Woo-hoo-hoo. We need to get to 1 million though, guys. So,
Keep going.
Keep going.
Where do they find you? Like
the Instagram, all my handles are at KALEKYE MUMO. It's again another thing that you need to do is that you need to have a uniform name for whether it is a product, service that you're using to promote on your handle, or it's your name. It has to be consistent, and the consistency means that anybody can find you anywhere. Because if I've searched KALEKYE MUMO on Twitter, I should be able to, and then I decide to go to Facebook, I don't have to think. Actually, the name is the KALEKYE MUMO. Huh? You know, you're disturbing your audience. So keep it simple. Stick to the name that you want to sell. The brand you want to stick to that name, and make sure that you're quick enough to sign it up on all platforms at once, whether or not you're going to use them at that time. Sign up, sign up, sign up everywhere. Okay, so
congrats on 800.
Thank you. Facebook has really grown after dealing with the impersonators. I finally got my verification last year, which was in fact I think I was trying again for the sake of trying. It's COVID, I'm bored, let me try, because I had tried before and it was really difficult. They had really stringent measures, but so when I got it, I have grown so fast. It's like guys finally realize, oh, these are fakes, that's the original. So the verification as a brand, as a personality, it really matters. So that helped a lot. So we're at 400 and something there. And we're also at 400 and something on Twitter. On YouTube, we're over 12,000. So it's a matter of just trying here and there. But one thing I can tell you, I do not post waiting for people to like or grow the page. It's not been my intention that I wanted to grow the page. It's actually been surprising every time as the page grows. I'll notice more when it's not moving as fast, because I'm like, oh wait, we have slowed down a little bit. What am I not doing? But it's not because that was the intention. For me, and now this is speaking as KALEKYE, you know, other people have different intentions, but for me, it was just about, hey, I have these platforms. People seem to enjoy the content and the conversations, and I like talking to them, so keep doing it. And that's how I approached it. I didn't go out with a major plan until I did my 40th birthday, and I was doing a campaign around it. I was celebrating 40 years and having lost 40 kilos, and so it actually came again from the fans. They started noticing differences in my photos. They started asking me, hey, are you losing weight? What's happening? So I figured, oh, there's something here, and I'm turning 40. It was, again, a lot of things in my life happened. So, by the way, I should do a bash. Yeah, I should celebrate. Oh, yeah, Target. It was by the way. And I think the best things come from that authenticity, that you're like, you know what you want to get. And I know this may sound odd to a person in business or a person who has a brand and they really want this thing to work. I think if I'm, for example, selling a restaurant and I just love to cook, I'd look at that plate I've just presented today and I'd be like, damn, I want to take a photo of that. I'm sure there's someone out there like me who'd love to see that and would love to taste it. And then I'd post it with that emotion. Not how many likes, how many people are going to walk into the restaurant. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Because I actually have to like it. Like you said, if I don't like it, I won't enjoy it. If I don't like the fact that I have to think about what posts I'm going to put up for a client, because what happens now is that as a brand, I'm able to influence for different products and services. Now, when they come to me, chances are high I may not even know that brand properly, but I need to be able to walk it, speak it, think it, and the help is, having done that on radio, at least I have an edge because I know how. And then design something that's still authentic and connects to my audience, because it's not even about that brand, it's how do I connect and sell this to them. And I know my audience well enough, so how do I connect it to them? Social media these days is appreciating soft advertising. And when I say soft is because hardcore was, you just make an ad, boom, bada bing, you put a poster. There's no real response to posters. There's just, it's not engaging anymore. Yeah. I'm going to, look, you have a poster, then you still have a caption and hashtags. What time? So pick a struggle. And what I've seen with the social media engagements, with even the rise of now TikTok and Instagram putting reels, short, sweet, fast, always works. And people need to be less afraid of using video in selling their products and services. You don't have to do so much, you just have to be creative. Pick a style for your page. What kind of colors, what kind of mood are you setting? Yeah? And the tone of the language of your captions needs to kind of be almost similar. It can't just, today it's this way, tomorrow it's that way. It needs to have a plan. So we normally create what we say are social media planners. So I have a planner that will tell me that I need to do, say, one post on Instagram per day. There's more rotation. Which is what we learned with the algorithms that are being done on Instagram and Facebook, is that if I do one post, let's say in 2 days, the likelihood of more people seeing it who are not following me is higher because it rotates more.
Yeah.
So if I am really looking to have that strong message pass, I don't need to do 100 of them in a day, or back to back with the same communication. Yeah. However, for anybody to actually acknowledge your brand or product or service, they need to have seen that particular brand at least 7 times before they even remember the name. Yeah. So you need to be consistent, but not by repeating yourself. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. Don't repeat yourself. Give people something to think about, even if sometimes you're talking about, for example, you're marketing about a hair salon, right? You can't just be posting hairstyle, come get your hair done, hairstyle, come get your hair done.
Yeah.
Talk about hair care. Talk about home care. Talk about what you eat and how it affects your hair. Like there's so many things.
Shape of your face and your hair.
So much.
Yeah.
So you've got to now think about it full circle for whatever product, service or brand that you are trying to move. Think about the different angles, not just, Maze, I need to move this pen. And I have to move this pen, 100 of them by the end of the month, and you're just saying pen. My friend will be bored.
And actually, to add on to what you had said earlier, it's about the value.
Yeah.
You know, when you're looking at giving your audience value, that's when you're thinking, what hairstyles, what hair care, what can people do at home?
Right.
What vitamins can they take to strengthen their hair?
When the weather changes, what should I do?
Yeah.
What kind of protective styles should I think of? Make offers around those things. I mean, don't be afraid. Again, I think a lot of people are afraid to give offers and things, competitions on social media. I find people play it too safe. You have such an easy platform to give giveaways. Giveaways are magnets. I mean, I have one client who, for me, is a very small business, but she is so bold with her approach towards this marketing. Like, I look at her and I feel like I'm dealing with Safaricom. She is bold for whatever she's doing in her very little shop. Yeah. And the products she's selling, they're not high-end, but they are gems. You could find amazing gems for a very low price. Yeah. But she's aggressive, and she's like, let's do a giveaway. Like, sometimes she's the one calling me, say, okay, now, I think, come do a this at the shop. Come do this. Because she's seen the value of giving her clients super value that they will eat, sleep, think the name of her shop, which is how you do it. The same way we used to do on radio is that we're in your head all the time.
Yeah.
Creatively repeating without really sounding like we're repeating. That's the trick.
And yeah, and I like what you said earlier as well about the fact that the soft sell. Yeah. So when people go onto social media, they're not going onto social media to buy something. No. So they're not looking for a poster and the new thing to buy. They're looking to see updates, news. They're looking to see where KALEKYE is spending her birthday. You know,
things like those.
Yeah. So when your poster looks, it's got the captions and the hashtags and the sale product and sale, like there's almost no value. Yeah. People will skip that stuff, and now they have an option. Yeah. Before, if you're stuck in traffic and you have this billboard looking at you and you have to wait for the cop to open the road, like you're just stuck. Yeah. But now,
I don't remember the last time I looked up at billboards. No offense to the guys who make billboards or pay for them. I know it's a lot of money, but actually I looked at a billboard. Why? I'd be like, Cop open. Oh, what's this? Oh, what has Jacqui posted? Oh, that's nice. That, you know, and then I end up looking for things to buy because it looked interesting.
Yeah.
So I think it's not as difficult. I feel like there's a bunch of people who are in business, and especially people who are in, you know, more of you've always been a white collar kind of thinker, and you know things work like A, B, C, D. They cannot. You need to be less rigid with social media, less rigid, and more open to mixing it up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Ask yourself, if you're not the target audience, and let's say your niece or nephew who are, you know, whatever, 20s, ask them what they'd like to see, because you have the safety of they are your people. Ask them what they'd like to see, what would appeal to them, then go and use that information. Find it, yeah.
I love that. And what are some of the things, because you've talked about business and how businesses can use social media to market themselves effectively. What are some of the metrics you can use, or the by metrics I mean, like, what's the data you can read that can help you understand whether you're on the right track, whether you've gone left?
So I think the best part about how social media is set up now, unlike how it was when we began, is that they actually made it so easy, because they actually give you all the ways to check on your audience growth. So you can check on your page overall. They give you analytics. There's every one of these social media pages has analytics. And when you go to the analytics, you'll be able to see very clearly how many people viewed this, how many impressions. And they even have a page where they explain, what does impressions mean, what does reach mean. Then you'll see how many people reached you from your following, how many reached you outside your following. And outside your following is normally when you've left that post to go on for a little longer. People have shared it, people have saved it, you know, and sometimes you post something and it leads people to say, oh no, let me go to the profile, let me go find out more about this person. You'll be able to see that on each and every one of your posts. So it's very easy these days to find out how well you're doing. And it's also very easy to tell the difference between a post that did well and a post that didn't do well. So initially you look at the likes, and you'll be like, this one only got 300 something, and then this other one got 5,000. Kwani, what did I do wrong? Instantly, you'll be able to see the quality of what the post is about. Yeah. Then you go further and now look at the analytics. It tells you view insights. Right at the bottom of, for example, on Instagram, it tells you view insights. And you can go and click on that, and you'll be able to see, so there's something about this post. Guys liked it so much, guys shared it, guys did whatever. Then now try and test yourself again versus the one that didn't do well. Post another one that's similar in terms of whether it was it's about the caption, or whether it's about, and you'll tell based on the comments, whether they're commenting on the picture, or they're commenting on the caption, or the sale, or whatever it is you have. Yeah. So if you're a shop and you're selling clothes, and you've done a little video that is promoting, say, your beautiful dress, and your beautiful dress has been put these different colors, and you'll see guys, oh, I want the blue one. Oh, how much is it? You'll be able to tell dresses like this are catching guys. So let me post another one which has dresses that are similar versus, let's say, these shorts. Then you'll see my audience prefer the dresses than they prefer the shorts. Because when I go to the analytics, it tells me the age group is about more mature, and they like this. And that will guide you in knowing, even further than the social media, what should I be selling? What should I be focused on? It's not hard because the data is there. It's quite there. And I know you're an expert on that side.
Oh, gosh, I absolutely love to read that data, because it's what helps to tell you what direction you should go, what's working, what's not working, what does your audience want. And as much as, you know, if my high school teacher is watching this, I know he and I used to have fights over maths, but as much as maths was not something that I loved in school, like I loved seeing the story in the data. And I think with social media, if you're ever going to be successful in using social media for business, you have to read the data. Like, you have to use that, let it guide you, as opposed to exactly. And it's not just about how many likes did you get. It's not just about how many. It's watch your audience. What are they saying? Like you said, comments. What are they commenting? What do they like? You're selling clothes. What kind of clothes are getting more likes? If you're a restaurant, what kind of meals are people liking? What time are people engaging more with your post, so you know what time to post more? What channel are they using more? Because your audience is the one that should drive your decisions online.
That's it. And there's no other story. Because I like what you've talked about timing, because while I was now discovering how to use my platforms seriously now as business, and that was with my campaign for my 40 of 40 birthday, was analyzing them in terms of with myself. What's the first thing I do when I wake up after I've done, whether I've prayed, I've done, I'll start to check my social media. And that's before I get up for work. So it's probably, if you're not doing a job like me at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., it's like 7, you'll start to check something. So that's a good time to post, because we all wake up and that's the first thing we do. Okay. What do I do typically if I'm having a 9-to-5 job? At about 10, it's tea time. Ikazi, ngoja kwanza. I check my phone. Then I go for lunch. So I learned, just think of what it is that you do as an individual, because you're not different from your audience in the capacity of looking at your phone. And especially with social media, we have hours. If your audience is a working class, if your audience is a student, it may be a bit more erratic. But if you're looking at a person who's working, those are the times they look at it. And then they look at it at 4 o'clock because it's almost time to go home. And that is like now the young working adult. For me, I was looking at the young working adult because that was my target. And that is 25 to 35. That's what they do. Then at 9 o'clock, before they start winding down to sleep, they look at it again and then they sleep. So those were my prime times to post. And it worked, because that was my audience. 25 to 35, young, working, capable guys who are upbeat, they're out and about, and they wanted to be in the know. So I understood my audience, and I understood when they are likely to be online, and I gave them what they wanted at those times. Simple.
Speaking of giving people what they want,
that's a tricky smile.
Let me ask, how do you deal with people who harass you? Because I'm sure you have some cyber stalkers. You get people proposing marriage to you or asking you out on dates. How is that like?
Let me tell you, I think, first of all, understanding as a person who is a brand that not everyone will love you is key. If you want to enter into an industry of media and being in the public or limelight, even the president will tell you. See, even him, he shooked from Twitter because he said, these guys, they don't like me. I mean, it will affect you. If you let it affect you, it can be too much, and it's okay to decide to say, I can't deal, right? But there's also the perspective of, there are people who are hurting in this world, and there are people who hurt people, right? And so they will try to reach for attention by poking at you. I mean, I've had people who will write something nasty, and then I ask them, okay, so now how is that helping the world? And it says, ooh, you've replied, wow. That's all they wanted. I don't know whether they go and tell their friends that they posted and you replied and show them. Though I wonder, their friends won't wonder whether that was not a very dumb comment. But anyway, I mean, who am I to judge? But there are things that you also have to decide as a person whether they are worth seeing in terms of negativity versus positivity. I am a human being. I am a person. I'm just a person who happens to have been in the limelight and happened to contribute to people I don't know. Never once have I abused the people I don't know. Never once have I gotten on radio or TV or abused them. So when they abuse me, and it makes me feel a type of way, I know it is time to block. I am the queen blocker. I am not afraid to say it. I'll block it because it's not adding value. It's going to make me feel bad. And if this is the language which you communicate with today, the likelihood that you will change is very slim. And I have to at least be able to control the amount of nonsense that I allow in my space. So I'm a master blocker One, let's just get that out of the way. Master blocker. You write nonsense that doesn't make any sense, block. I don't like also people who come to try and sell their wares on your comments and they don't want to reach out to you to sell. Especially now after COVID, we are really trying to help small businesses. And we've given them deals that are unbeatable because the price is so low vis-a-vis the amount of track they'll get on my page.
Yeah.
So if you start selling stuff on my page, I will politely send you a message and say, if you want to, this is what you can do, right? And I will delete that because it's not the right, the caption and everything is about something totally different. For example, if I've posted about, let's end rape culture, and then you're talking about, buy my CG, but somebody wrote, my do-rags are the best. I'm like, do-rag? Do-rag? Huh? End rape culture, do-rag. I mean, I have to remove it, right? So you are in control of your page. You decide what to allow, what not to allow. Now, let's talk about DMs. Oh my God. When it comes to DMs, I think we have, either we are not up to par on the decorum, approach, civility, language. As in, I could go on and on about it because you've written HAE, that I hear is high. I hear. Yes, you've just done a, what was that? I hear it's high. And then it's not a chat box. Okay? Yeah. It's not WhatsApp. It's not we're not friends. I don't know you. Yeah. You feel you know me. You think you know me. You know of me. I keep telling guys who, for example, meet me and say, oh, KALEKYE, I know you. And I'm like, no. Oh. Because you won't even allow me to introduce myself. You know of me, but you don't know me. You know what I want you to know about me. Guess what? Because I post what I want audiences to know. I've never posted things that are actually going on in my life as blatantly as they are. Not always will I do that. Yeah. So you'll say hi and you say nothing else. So me, I look at it and I say, I'll answer, hi, and then I delete because I don't know. Say something. It's not a chat box. Yeah. You know, and even you as my friend, for example, Jacqui, will not just write me a message, hi. What does that mean? Like, I don't have time to, hi, how are you? Fine. What are we doing? Do you not have other things to do with your life?
I know.
We're working. Like,
I just don't respond. I think you're really nice that you actually say hi back.
No, I don't say hi back. I say hi back in my head.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's what because you know I love the Lord and I don't want to be struck by a bolt of lightning for being mean and the Lord is my savior. I say hi so that I acknowledge that I said it. I didn't write it, but I actually say it. And I think you're so beautiful. Thanks. Delete. I say hi to them. I say thanks in my mind.
Yeah.
I actually say it out loud to the phone. Oh, thanks. And I'm like, I don't know how, because I also know that a lot of these guys are waiting for you to just respond with one thing and it changes. Like, I do get some people who comment really nice things that I think that this post or whatever is really nice. And I'll say, thank you very much. I say, oh, wow, you responded. So can we meet up? And I'm like, huh? How did we go from there? And then one guy actually on Facebook said, I knew when I bring this up, you won't respond. And then, you know, even I go and I check his profile. Married, with children, and I'm like, umeniona aje, please, please, umeniona aje. And I don't know where the culture is where Kenyan men or African men or men in general think that just because they are men and they tell you you're beautiful, oh, I should go and pune and just become yours. Sorry, but no. Okay? No. All right? Have some manners. No. We have to work for this. Yeah. Speak and speak well. If you want to talk to me, say something. I don't know you. Just remember that I don't know you. If I've never met you, we've never had a conversation, and you hit me up on the socials, I have a task to distinguish. Is this just a fan with a crush, or is it somebody who really wants to have an adult conversation? Adult conversation.
In proper
English.
Yep, I totally hear you. So yeah, I feel your pain, but I think there is something to be said for, like what you've just said. You've just brought it out really well, because that thing of you're beautiful, you're thinking, is that all?
Is that all there is?
You know, I woke up in the morning, so yeah, I totally agree.
You know, And there's also something to be said about, you're going to send me a marriage proposal on DM just because you saw how I look. You don't even know if I'm the wicked witch from the West. You don't know. I mean, you don't know.
Yeah.
How? Okay, the guys who are watching, just please in the comment section, exactly what would you expect a chick to respond? Oh my God, you're so beautiful, marry me. What are your expectations? And then where do we go from here? And you know, it's not White Rose dry cleaners. Where do we go? Where? What? Which kind of woman do you think I am? I'm just sorry, but I have to attack your audience and ask them, huh?
Put that down in the comments.
Just please put it there for us to, because we have the same problem.
Does it work?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Because I feel like there must be some chicks who respond for you guys to keep doing this. You know, like it's been happening for years. Years.
Do they respond and you actually marry them? Is that how you end up getting a wife?
Or is that your way of ingizing her box? Because I feel a lot of these men just want to sleep with you, and I'm sorry, but please also look at who you're dealing with first. Nani, it would be that easy.
And spend a little bit more time to understand even the person, the intelligence level, like, you know, and if this person really, if you're punching above your weight, like really just stick to your lane. That's what I think.
Let's talk about punching above there, because if we go there, let's just put it this way. I just turned 45. I am not afraid to say I turned 45. A lot of people think I should not say my age, but I say my age because one, I am so grateful to the Lord that I have reached this age. Okay? Two, I also want to put off youngins who do not understand that we are not on the same page. You are 25 and you're writing with broken English to tell me, hi mommy, I think you are sexy, I want to do what call me. Come on now, please.
You know, okay, I must point out that I don't know whether that will work, because I've just remembered Will Smith said that when he got married and he now was wearing a wedding ring, he was getting hit on more than before. So now that she said she's trying to, you know, you're trying to tell the youngins that, hey, at 45, you know, just
stay off. But I think
I think you might end up attracting more attention. So I don't know, we'll see. But tell us in the comment section.
As for Will Smith's situation, it's just because there's a group of women who say if he can keep a wife, he has the money and he has the ability to deal with who I am, and so therefore I'll go for him, and then I have no strings attached, I'll just enjoy and go. And that's a selfish kind of arrangement. I'm sorry, but it's selfish.
All right, so now let's talk about, as we wrap up, because we're getting towards the end, and I really want to hear what your latest projects are. What are you working on? Yeah. What's exciting you right now, besides the youngins who've been DMing her?
Oh, those are not exciting. Those are a bit annoying. I'm sorry, but it's a bit annoying. I think right now the most exciting thing has been how KALEKYE Radio has grown and how the conversations have really developed into meaningful things that people can say is touching their lives. And so my question has been, okay, how do I grow this? Like with the hope of growing it, yes, to YouTube. And whether moving the audio versions into podcast will also help other people who are maybe not able to sit and watch but can later listen to the shows. That's something I'm working on. There is another show that's coming up soon. I'm not at liberty to say everything about it, but it's typically going to be something that helps people invest their money better, and with that coming together being the key. How do you come together to make a difference for yourselves and for your community? So that's something that's coming up soon. And then again, now just trying to rebuild on how to coach better and train better and get all that out there. Dabbling with whether to get into putting out a fashion line for plus size women like myself, based on the fact that I keep getting asked about your clothes.
Should she?
So should I? Do you want to just, say it there? Because I think it's something that will be interesting, because I love my fashion. I love it. So if it's something that I can do and that will have a life of its own and not take away too much of my time, it's something that I definitely would do. And I think it's easy and effortless for me to put things together. So that's something that is actually my big goal for 45, to think about whether that's something that I can do, because I've thought about it for years and years, but maybe this is the right time, because now I have a very clear direction on who I am, what I like and what I don't like, what's possible for different girls of different ages who are plus size, because at least I'm old enough to have seen these different age groups. So that's kind of where I'm at.
I think that's exciting.
Yeah.
I honestly would love to hear from the audience what they think, because for me, I'm sold. I think I love your style, and I see you on Instagram, and I'm always like, man, she pulls off the outfit so well. You're wearing shorts one day, you've got this beautiful flowing dress, and then even when you travel, like you're on holiday, and you have a style about you, and as you said, it's effortless, but it's not for everybody else.
Right.
And maybe not everybody knows where to find something that looks good on them, the kind of fabric, texture, patterns. There's a lot more involved in it. So like for me, I would be like, definitely go.
Awesome.
But I want us to hear from them.
From you guys.
Yeah.
We want to hear from you guys.
Thank you. And I will also share links to Kalekye's social media and any other information below this video. So in the description, you can get those links. And thank you so much for coming, for being here. I've enjoyed this so much. I'm thinking, we should have done this.
Yeah, we should have. But anyway, there's no time like now.
Yes.
And thank you so much for having me on this show, and even just for the conversations, and for always challenging me to do better. I think that's one thing you guys need to know about her. Man, she can push you, but in a good way that will help you. So that's something I love. And I think that your show is going to do well. Your conversations are quite awesome. So keep doing you.
Thank you. Thank you. I love to see, when it comes to pushing people, one of the things that really makes me happy is to see people grow. Like to see somebody completely transform their life from one year to the next. And you look back and you think, wow, I thought I never saw this. So I'm always poking, because one, I want to see that. Two, I believe your message, you've got the fashion line. I've already decided it's happening.
It's a done deal.
You've got the fashion line, you've got the channel, you've got your podcast, you've got everything that you're doing, you've got the life coaching, you've got the training that you're doing for people who are getting into media. All that is going to help somebody. So it's such a disservice when there's a delay between getting it done to help somebody.
Yeah.
I just feel like I see it from the perspective of all the people who are lost out there going for
mediocre help.
Yes, mediocre help or interviews with shiny faces. When there's somebody
Exhibit A.
when there's somebody who can tell you what a teleprompter is and how to read it.
Wow.
But all these things, like there's somebody who's lost out there without you. And that's why, like, when I poke anybody who I work with and I'm like, hey, you need to, you owe it to your audience, you owe it to yourself. So I absolutely love it. And I am so glad that you're doing the things that you're doing. Yeah. I'm so happy. Haven't we all enjoyed, like, seriously, if you've loved this, like, I would love to hear your comments below. Just put something to let us know what you've picked out from this, how you feel having watched it till the end. First of all, we appreciate your time because you've stayed with us all the way until the end. So for that, we appreciate you and thank you so much. Let us know what it is that really stood out for you so that we know to make more around that. Because as Kalekye said earlier, we're about the value. We want to give you value. We want to give you what will make your life better. So help us give you that value. Ask us questions, engage with us. No DM marriage proposals, but things that will help your business, things that will help your life, and that will help us craft the kind of content that will be of benefit to you. So thank you, and we will see you. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and we will see you the next time.